All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Mozart. Yes. Hello, everybody. It's your good friend Pozzible here, and I'm here with my friend Joe.
How's it going?
And today we're here to discuss one of the great things. And you know what? I have to admit, this is one of those things that also gets robbed. Okay, this is Batman Under the Red Hood. One of the many DC animations that have been made. Great storyline.
Fantastic storyline, both comic and movie.
Yes, and you know, it always makes me sad that movies like this never really get their due. You know, they're considered cartoons, animation, so I think they get written off real easy. But you know, some of these stories are better than the actual live action versions. You know.
Yeah. Well, this is probably my favorite animated movie. Even I didn't want to get it for the longest time because I'd read the comics, and then I got it as like a gift, and I said, "Well, I got it. I'll watch it." Actually, very surprising. I really enjoyed the movie.
And that's saying a lot because these are actually, I mean, the Batman movies that are considered great direct to DVDs. But you got things like, you know, Mask of Phantasm, the Mysterious of the Batwomen, or Batwoman.
Right. Sub-Zero with the Mr. Freeze. That was another good one.
And these are all movies, and they're all based off of the TV series, the animated series. One of the great things about the animated series, it was a lot more canon than what live action does. They really stuck to the origins. They stuck to the way the characters were originally presented, and you know they really tell it very well.
Actually, this movie wasn't really based on the TV series so much. It was basically someone. It felt like someone took the comic book, read the comic. It was a 2 volumes graphic novel or trade paperback, and then they said, "Well, let's make it into an animated movie." I mean, that's what it felt like to me. And well, of course, they had to change some things because the comic encompassed multiple different other comics.
Right.
So they didn't want to have that. They didn't have all these other animated movies to draw off of. So they had to change certain plot points to fit into a 1 movie or 1 DVD set.
Right. They still kept it very well. I mean, basically, just to give you the idea of what the story is, Batman is confronted by a new nemesis, the Red Hood, and a very well-trained nemesis. We don't know who this guy is, but he's very intelligent. He definitely knows the Dark Knight inside and out. The movie's been out for over 3 years now, so I guess it wouldn't be too hard to say too much about it. But we really shouldn't spoil what the twists are and you know who the Red Hood actually is. Sometimes you know the whole point of wearing a mask is nobody knows who you are.
Yeah, but that was actually the key, and he wanted Batman to eventually know who he was.
Exactly. Well, you know, the thing about Batman that I always love the most, and this is about the whole Batman universe itself. One, Batman is more real than any other universe, in my opinion. He deals with the psychopaths, the shooters, the people, the criminals, people that you would really meet on a regular basis. You know, it's cool to watch Superman bring down something like Doomsday and other, you know, metallic monsters that are 20 feet tall and have 6 arms, but you're not going to run into that on a regular basis. Batman characters, you really could see them running into these people. That said, the Red Hood was just another example of somebody that he could meet, and it brings up a lot of the questions about the way he does things and the way he deals with villains like the Joker. The Joker is a main villain in this movie, along with the Red Hood.
One of the things I like about Red Hood, and I like this about a lot of comic book villains, is when they have somewhat of a bit of morals.
Right.
In the Red Hood's case, I think at one point he was taking over the Gotham City underworld drug trafficking. He says, "We're going to take the drugs, we're going to sell them, but if I find out that anybody's selling drugs to kids, I'm going to kill you on the spot." Pretty much, like that was like the red button for him. He didn't mind getting into the underworld, but he did not want kids getting hooked on drugs.
Right, he had his limits as well.
Yes.
I mean, and you know, sometimes we're used to those villains like the Joker who just go too far in everything they do.
Well, Joker doesn't have a motivation. He just he does what he sees someone and he you know, nothing good on TV, I'm going to kill somebody. That's it.
Right.
I mean, literally, there's no
out of boredom.
That's why Joker's a really hard villain to
figure
deal
out.
with. Yeah, to figure out and deal with.
Mm-hmm. And you know the animation on this is really top notch, and also the best thing about Red Hood is, like with all the other Batman movies, how intelligent this is. The twist, the piecing together the puzzles. I really don't get that sense when I see, like, let's say the Christian Bale trilogy from Christopher Nolan. That Batman, I mean, don't get me wrong, you saw him like shooting the gun every once in a while to figure out what gun it was, but he wasn't piecing together pieces like a Sherlock Holmes does. And that's what Batman actually does. You know, he does look at something, and something is so simple as, look, I tied this guy with a rope, and he slashed it with his knife. That's the first thing that happens when they meet the Red Hood. And Batman's like, this is my line he's cutting. No one can do that, even with training. You can't do that unless you expect it, And the way he was able to just piece things together and get ahead of the game, that's what Batman's always been about.
Yeah, keep in mind, in this one, I think they do reveal the Hood's identity.
They do.
Pretty early in the movie, though, actually. Because Batman, remember they have all the flashbacks?
Right.
And Batman flashes back to earlier times.
Right. Looking back at, his career. And shall we reveal now?
That's up to you. This is your site.
From here on out, we'll be doing a little bit of spoilers. So if you don't want the movie spoiled for you, don't listen any further.
But understand that this is a very good animated movie,
and definitely worthy to see. So I rated a see it. But no, now we're going to get into the spoilers. We're going to get into the actual thing. Now I'm going to kind of ruin this. I'm going to bring it to this page here. That way now is the time to stop watching. Okay. But we definitely give it a see it. But no, the Red Hood, of course, is Jason Todd. Who was killed by the Joker in the Death in the Family series from 1988.
This Jason Todd, if you don't know, was the second Robin. He took over after Dick Grayson had moved on.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's kind of a funny story how he meets Jason Todd. Jason Todd was trying to steal Batman's hubcaps.
He was trying to take the wheels off the Batmobile.
Yeah.
You give him credit. That was gutsy.
Actually, I never really read too much about Jason Todd. I never knew how different he was. But I guess, judging from the reason why they decided to kill him, he wasn't very popular.
No, I guess, I don't know. I only have a couple Jason Todd comics. Mm-hmm. And I just know, like, I read Under the Hood. He's also in a storybook called Hush, which is another good one, where he's referenced. When the whole stealing the tires off the Batmobile was probably classic, but he had definitely some anger management issues. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the problems. Batman took him on to replace Dick Grayson, and then he started to realize that, Jason Todd is not Dick Grayson.
Right. That's always one of the hardest things to really deal with is, when you change partners, and even though he sees Robin, it's not the same Robin who he brought up and trained and was really responsive. I mean, Dick Grayson was, I dare say, agreeable. But he definitely had a sense of, he had a stronger link than anybody else. Even of the other Robins that have come out, like...
there's Tim Drake.
Tim Drake was one.
Even, I don't know if they changed this when the New 52 came out. Tim Drake's girlfriend was Robin for a very short time, Stephanie Brown.
Right.
And then the current Robin in comics is Damian Wayne. It's Bruce Wayne's son with Talia.
Mm-hmm. So they've changed it, but I mean... Of all the people to ever really take on the Robin mantle, Dick Grayson is, of course, the one everybody thinks of because he was always there for Bruce, and he was there during the golden age of comics when comics weren't so serious or so dark.
Right.
So he real quick, we're gonna take 1 minute here, see how well Joe knows his comics. Joe?
Yes.
And give 5 seconds here before you answer. What's the real reason Robin is named Robin? I'll give you a little hint. It has nothing to do with the bird. You at home, do you know why Robin is really named Robin?
Actually, I'm not sure I know that one.
When they first introduced Robin, they thought of him as a young version of Robin Hood. Oh. So that's why, and in some ways, that's why they call him Robin, and that's why this is called Under the Red Hood. But yeah, I mean, very good storyline because basically, for those of you who have already seen it, you know that Dick Grayson. I don't know. I don't think he actually died or he was like near death or something. But Ra's al Ghul comes in, and
Or you mean Jason Todd?
Jason Todd. Yeah, thank
Right,
you.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's Lazarus. Just to let you know, in the comics, the Under the Hood comics, Jason Todd gets resurrected during the events, I believe, of Infinity Crisis, when Superboy Prime is trying to get back to Earth. He's on like this, like, I forget where he was, but he had to break through this like dimensional barrier. He released this energy, which resurrected Jason Todd. So that's one of the things they had to change because, like I said, they couldn't go back to other comics,
Right.
so they had to do something that was self-contained in one story.
But his resurrection was anything but pleasant because let's face it, he was brutally murdered by the Joker.
Yeah, beaten in the head with a crowbar and then blown up.
One interesting thing about this, during the actual story in the comics, you see Jason Todd, he's actually, one of the things that kills him is he lunges over his mother's body when she was still alive, and when the bomb goes off, he tries to save her. But they kept that part out in this comic book, in the movie, I mean. It was just him and the Joker, and of course, when you're just with the Joker, anything can happen, and you know Jason Todd is not and Robin is not Joker's friend.
Yeah.
And so he comes back, and deep down, remember in the beginning of this show, we started talking about questions. One of the big questions he wonders is, why is the Joker still walking around so alive after what he did to Jason Todd? This is like Batman's worst nightmare. One of his victims coming back wondering, why is the guy who killed me still free?
It wasn't so much even him. It was, the Joker's still there. He killed me. He's going to kill other people. Because that's one of the lines. I love that that was one they took from the comics and the movie. Red Hood tells Batman, "I'm not upset at you for letting me die. I'm upset with you because the Joker is still alive." Mm-hmm. So you start thinking, okay, he's getting to get revenge on Batman because Batman didn't save him, but it's not that at all. Right. It's completely the opposite.
Now, also, you know what? I'm remembering this movie now, and I'm trying to remember what was the battle like? Because wasn't there a battle between Jason Todd and Dick Grayson, Nightwing versus the Red Hood?
Oh God, I don't remember.
Yes,
I remember. Well, in the comic, Dick Grayson had been wounded earlier. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if they actually had the battle. I remember Mazo was in this one. The android where they had the power of the Justice League.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah, that was an extra feature in the comic book that didn't really translate into the movie.
Actually, it wasn't. There was a part in the movie where they brought it, but it wasn't a prolific scene. But I think Black Mask was the villain here.
Okay.
When he was bringing Amazo in.
So Jason Todd comes back. He's pissed, and he wants his revenge on the Joker. He wants Batman. I think he wants Batman to see the light of day.
Yeah,
or at least to see Batman see his perspective.
Right, because Batman won't kill.
Right.
But Jason Todd says sometimes you have to kill because you do better. You do better if you kill, and it's that conflict between teacher and student. I don't see it your way type of deal. Right,
and how far do you really go sometimes? But ultimately, I mean, in the beginning of this podcast, we really couldn't say enough about this show. It's definitely worthy, so if you hadn't seen it yet, check it out. You won't be sorry to see Under the Red Hood.